This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and it calls the offers from great, rich, and poor, free, and bond to the sea they can rock in their right hand or in their FREHEDS. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 17. It says that no man might buy or sell, say that he hath a Quran or the name of the BASC will know his name. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 18. It says, here is wisdom, let him have understanding. Count the number of the BASC, for it is the number of man, his number is SIX, 200 sworn SIX. This is, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Akakadash, and Heavenly Father, true names, Yahweh, Yahweh, his only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Mashiach Yahushua. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Lashma Kadash Lutan. And I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles, Wa'akim, Wa'akwaf, and I say Shalom. And this is this is a sit-down lesson. You have to say a sit-down lesson of Salaki, my apology. This is a sit-down lesson of the M.O.T.B news updates as of July the 22nd. Yeah, July the 22nd, 2025 on this Tuesday afternoon. This is a news article I'm going to link out, so I charge my phone now.
Oh, yeah, over here.
Get some Salaki. Yeah, this is a sit-down lesson of this recent news article. This is from the CoinGeek.com, and this was published July the 22nd, 2025, by Steve Carell. And it says, Pakistan sets up a new watchdog as the central digital currency readies of the, it says readies the central digital currency, which is the CBDC. It says Pakistan has launched a new digital assets industrial regulator in its latest efforts to become the Asian crypto hub. It says the Pakistan government. Yeah, it says the Pakistan government. Oh, that's scroll. It says that the Pakistan government has removed a rapid year to create enable the government for digital assets in March. It says it had launched a Pakistan Crypto Council, the champion sector's interest. 2 months later, it says it was really working on a new oversight body of the known as the Pakistan Digital Assets Authority of the PDAA. It says the initiative has now culminated. It says in the Pakistan virtual. It says assets regular authority. It says the PBARA. It says which the supervise, monitor, and license of virtual assets. It says the service provider, the BASPS. It says ensures the compliance of the local regulations and international standards. It says for the Financial Action Task Force of the AFTF. It says and others. It says according to the local. It says according to the Dawn. It says according to the local outlaw Dawn, the PBARA has approved by the federal. It says the cabinet this week. It says once regulated as an authority was be responsible for issuing a license. They say supervisor of the BASPS. It says settling. It says settling the tech. It says a technical standards for the coordinations of the compliance of the FATF IMF. It says the World Bank guidance of the statement from the ministries of finance said on Tuesday. It says a separate statement on Thursday review that the PBARA has been from President Ali approved of the virtual assets ordinance since 2025. It says that Pakistan president has been authorized to issue the ordinance of any any urgent issues, and it doesn't have to go through a preliminary ordinance, and will remain in effect for 4 months before the regulator requires it's ratified. Yeah, ratified. That's how I pronounce it. Yeah, it says the ordinance defines the PBARA as an autonomous federal body empowered to license and regulate and supervise and title dealing with virtual assets. Right, so we're going to see more virtual assets and digital assets as we think more and more to a digital global economy. It says it further prescribes that the PASP intends to serve Pakistan investors. Yep, it says most obtained. Yep, it says most obtained from the watchdog. Yep, it says from the watchdog. It says the PABAR must introduce a new. Yep, it says a new license framework. It says with a clear guiding lines of the operational capacity. It says compliance obligations and reporting of a framework. It says the ordinations also incorporates a frame for a responsible innovations. It says in establishing a regulation sandbox allowing emerging technologies and businesses models to be tested under a supervisory oversight. The statement from the Financial Ministry added. It says it says a PBRIA can also a VSSP to experience. It says specific products, but it defined through a release of letters. It says similar to the regulators of sandbox. Pakistan has already set a sandbox establishing by a central bank in May. It says, however, it caters to the entire financial. Yeah, it says the financial the financial services. It says industrial. Yeah, it says industrial is not specific in the crypto firms. It says the PBR. Yeah, it says the PBARIA will compromise the governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, the SBP. It says a super persons of the federal block of the revenue securities and exchange from the commissions of Pakistan digital authorities launched earlier this week. It says unto the driver of the country's digital transformation. It says the agencies will also be a member. It says other includes a secretaries, if I pronounce that right. It says a key ministries such as a financial, justice, and information and communications technology, ICT. In addition, the government will appoint two independents and directors of a long-standing expertise in digital assets and financial technology. It says, with Pakistan being an Islamic state, the ordinance mandates that the form of the Sharia Advisory Committee to advise the PBARA issuing related to Sharia compliance. The VASPS that oppose the PBARAS decisions to guidelines can appeal to virtual assets and applicate the tribunal whose ruling must be independent and unbiased, and as per the news ordinance. It says Pakistan has the central digital currency. It says amending the rapid digital assets adoptions. Right, so that's what we're seeing around the world. We're going to see more and more pushing up this digital assets adoptions. This digital money adoption. This digital money, digital dollar, digital cash adoption. As we're seeing more and more being adopted on an everyday basis. It says the SBP plans to launch a block for the central digital currency of the CBDC. Governor Jamali Ahmad has revealed. It says the government spoke to the Reuters next Asia Summit held in Singapore on Wednesday. It says where he said that the central bank has been building up its capacities for a digital rupee, and it will commence a block soon. It says that unlike some of the Asian peers like China and Thailand, and Pakistan has dragged its feet into the CBDC front. It says despite for announcing it will explore the digital rupee in 2019, though some of the efforts in 2023. It says the SBP. It says it will accelerate the project, aiming for a 2025 launch. It says, but yet again, the project still stalled. It says while Pakistan remains hesitant, others like Australia are picking up pace. On Thursday, the Reserve Bank of Australia, the RBA, announced that it has selected over a dozen participants in a project, the ASEA Wholesale and CBDC, and a tokenized deposits project. It says the participants, including Westpac Banking Corporation's First Blocks, Northern Trust, NASDAQ, NSCRS. It says the Australian Payment Plus and the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. It says the plot tests 24 plot tests 24 use cases, 19 of them which involve transactions in real assets and real money, and in five. It says in five are proof of concept, the POC, using the cases and including involving simulated transactions. It says this case selects this project will help to better understand how innovations in central bank and private digital monies along with payment infrastructures might help to uplift the function of the wholesale financial markets. And Australia commends Brad Jones of the RBA assistance government. And I believe the other nations are going to lead towards that direction as well too, as we're seeing more and more pushing of Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency, and it's definitely this central digital currency, as we're seeing 130 plus 70 countries leaning towards that direction, as we're entering more and more of a cashless society on a daily basis. It says the Senate must finish the job on the American pro-crypto future amidst mentioned reports.
Okay, whatever.
And this is from Index Box. Yeah, this is from Index Box. It says Morocco's Central Digital Currency Initiative for enhanced cross-border transaction news and statistics. This is from July 20. Yeah, this is from previously. Yeah, so this is from July 21st, 2025. It says at 11:23 GMT 5 time. It says Morocco's explorer of the central digital currency for cross-border payments. Right, so that's what we're going to be leaning. That's what we're going to be seeing in all these other countries leaning towards this more exploring of the central digital currency, cross-border payments off of It says micro central banks. It says Morocco central banks. It says that towards the implementation of its own digital currency. That's revealed by the governor, the initiative, which is detailed in a recent report aiming to facilitate peer-to-peer and cross-border payments. It says Moroccan's central bank in collaborations with the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. It says the World Bank is evaluating, it says the potential impacts of the central bank digital currency of the CBDC. It says on its payment systems. It says its efforts as a part of a broader strategy. That says on its system is an effort to part of a broader strategy to modernize financial transactions, enhance economic integration with neighboring countries, including Egypt. Yeah, something like that. It says Genius X is helping interim navigate the university. It stands that says. It says from the block. This is about 6 hours ago. It says the Senate Republicans released crypto market structure discussions of a draft aimed to building the House off pass. And this is from the financial. Right, so as we seen the crypto week has passed, I believe that was like last week, and we're seeing more and more of this, especially over here in the United States, we're seeing more and more pushing of this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and stablecoin is going too, as they signed it into law. So I believe waiting for the Senate to pass that bill. I believe it's like, at first I thought it was all bills together, with the stablecoin bill, the cryptocurrency bill, and the anti-central district currency bill. So these are separate bills that have to pass through the Senate. I believe it had passed the House already last time I checked, if I'm not mistaken or not. This is a news article from the financial. This is from the financial.yahoo.com, and this is published by Amanda. Yeah, it says Amanda Circling. It says as of July the 22nd, 2025, degrees at 8:50 a.m. It says this is from the financial.yahoo.com. It says Telegram crypto wallets launches in the United States, and it says the Telegram is expanding. It says the Telegram is expanding access for its crypto. Telegram is expanding access. It says Telegram is expanding access to its crypto wallets for 87 million users in the United States. It says a Tone wallet is named because it's built on the Tone blockchain. It's integrating directly into the Telegram app. It says by existing with this app, it says that the Telegram crypto wallet is supposedly to form an easier on-ramp. It says for new crypto users. It says Telegram has offered a crypto wallet to international users since 2023. It says though it was unable to roll out in the U.S. until now due to the regulated uncertainty. Telegram says more than 100 million global users active to their wallets last year. It says which is about 10% of Telegram's 1 billion active users. Public data shows that 334,000 transactions are processed on the Ton blockchain per day. Right, so it says once again, Telegram's crypto wallet launches in the United States. Right, so we've been seeing these, these digital wallets, this Google Play, Apple Pay, and the different type of alternative wallet apps. And it's going to be part of, the cashless society, which we're seeing on a daily basis. So that shows you that's an indication sign right there. We're seeing more and more of the pushing of this cashless society. That's going to implement the M.O.T.B, which is already here. And that's going to fully implement the RFID, CHIP as well too, and more fingerprints. So we're going to see more signs of that. And this says. It says New York Congressman. It says Nevada Congressional Democrats help advance reckless crypto agenda. Yeah, that was from the Nevada Congress. Yeah, it was published 4 days ago. 4 hours ago, I meant to say. It says Seeking Apple, published 2 hours ago. It says a Bank of England mulling the Shabby the digital pound project, right? Because of the security reasons, and if they're not ready to fully push it out as well too. So that's those are 2 signs that I could probably think of most likely. Because that's why you've been seeing, and it makes perfect sense because we've been seeing more and more of the CBC plot, the CBC trial, the CBC tests that have been taking place among all these other nations, especially like places like South Korea and in different parts around the world, before they fully release and fully implement this technology of this digital currency that they're going to make it fully implement. It says J.P. Morgan leading against Linux crypto holders. It says the Dems bill will create a new regulation of cryptocurrency kiosks. Right, so as I mentioned again, the cryptocurrency week just passed, and they signed those bills into law. So we're going to see if the Senate going to pass it. It says the wisebusiness.com. It says July the 22nd, 2025 agrees. It says the Dem bill will create a new regulations for the cryptocurrency kiosks. So this is another sign we're leading more and more to a cashless. That shows you that more and more we're leading to a cashless society. It says regulations from the Dem lawmakers will create new regulations and licenses and requirements for the cryptocurrency kiosks. It says a full bill of authorities authors have been led to a shocking amount of fraud. It says these are the self-service machines that are being used and sell digital currencies that have been much more widespread in recent years. Right, that is true because we've been seeing it spread throughout recent years, especially like places like down in Texas, Iowa, and Idaho, and different places around the world in the United States been increasing. So we're going to see more signs of that, more these kiosks as part of Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency. We can convert your dollars into coins, and that's going to implement more and more of the digital currency as related more and more into a cashless society on a daily basis. And this is the self-service machine that used to buy and sell digital currencies have become more widespread in recent years. It says the country sponsorship members for the bill notes that the members of these kiosks in the United States have risen from 4,000 at the start of 2020 to nearly 30,000 today. It says Wisconsin likely has more than 500 such kiosks, according to an article posted by the Wisconsin Bankers Association's Senator M.O.T.B. Madison, Democratic of Madison, Representatives of Ron Sparkle, Democratic Council Ron, if I pronounce the name right. It says recently began circulating the memo to seek support of the regulations. It says these notes consumers and these kiosks are often targeted by the fraudulent practice. It says such misleading fees and prices can lose thousands of dollars for scams that rely on these machines. Yeah, you would definitely see a lot of scams on that as well too. So they trying to make alternative ways so it's safe and secure. Once people do go to these kiosks, that's are increasing in the United States. So they want to be safe and secure as they convert their cash into digital currency. And these token coins as well too, kiosk coins. It says while they provide provisions access to cryptocurrency, it says they have also designed for fraudsters and scammers due to their lack of regulations and lawmakers. It says under the bill and it says under the bill the author of a virtual currency kiosks will need to be licensed as money transmitted will be subject to new regulations requirements. It says in addition to those already applied to money transmitters. It says the license process will be under the Department of Financial Institutes and divisions of the bank. It says according to the analysts of legislation reference rule, along with the defining of the concept of the virtual currency with kiosks. It says the legislation will be also required to operate. It says attached to a printed front on the front of the machine also display electronic thief on the screen. It says users will be. It says user have to acknowledge the warning to receive. It says in addition to these safeguards, it says a bill will cap cryptocurrency. It says the crypto transactions about 1,000 per customer per day. It says the will limit fees and either $5 or 3% the transaction amount, whichever rate. It says the kiosk operators would require to issue refunds to customers if one consumer's first transactions occur to 72 hours of the customer's first. It says the transactions. Yep. It says the transactions. It says the transactions and the if the customers notify the operation and the law enforcement government entities. It says within the 30 days of fraudulent transactions. It says the Republican and Democratic legislation around the country are actively putting to stop the victimization of this resident's bill before this work. The Wisconsinites deserve the freedom for benefiting from emerging technologies like cryptocurrency and cryptocurrencies. It says without the rapid release of being fraudulent scam. It says that the crypto sponsor deadline is ones that sort of mention. It says, oh, there's something. It says, so is a cross-border digital currency. Yeah, this is published 13 days ago. This is from chosen.com. And this is published by Lee and Joan Arkansas from the Chosen Daily. And this was published July 22nd and 2025. It says, so is a cross-border digital currency. It says, as U.S. and China picks both opposing paths, South Korea weighs a risk of wars of a private stablecoin versus central digital currency control. It says, South Korea faces a growing pressure to clarify its digital currency. Potentially, they most likely might choose central digital currency or stablecoin. It says, South Korea faces a growing pressure to clarify its digital currency. It says the strategy in the United States and China. It says adopting the sharply divergent approach intensifying as a global context of the future of money and monetary sovereignty. Right, because you still gonna have these competition with these either side, and the way it goes, more and more the pushing of this global currency and more pushing of this central digital currency, Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency. They're gonna have competition with, especially with these nations like towards competition of that. It says on July the 18th that the current administration signed into law in a landmark bill of the Genius Act, which legalizes issuing stablecoin for firms such as Tether and Circle, and the Central Digital Currency and China Savannah State Act, which prohibits the insurance of the central bank digital currency of the CBC measures underscore Washington's preference for a market-led model. Delegations. It says the instruments, circulations, and the dispersion of the digital dollar to the private sectors. Beijing, by contrast, is doubling down on a state-directed framework. Thus says of the People's Bank of China. The PBOC has retained sole authority over the CNY. It says they designated for the central digital currency. It says of the five top financial priorities earlier this month. It says authorities announced plans to expand the ECNY government programs in Shanghai's fair trade zone. It says while the two global powers have joined, it says interlinks. It says the soul remains undecided. It says the Bank of Korea has advanced its own central digital currency initiative in recent years. It says President Yi Jae-yong campaign and the pledge to legalize stablecoins that draw attention towards the American ownership has exposed the growing divisions within the country's financial establishments. It says the Bank of Korea government Ray Jae-yong has expressed the reserve speaking at a public forum in June. It says it had one stablecoin as issues. This says that by private forums could significantly navigate spillovers. It says this comments highlights the lack of assistance with Seoul's policymakers' circles. It says that these are the unsolved questions. Say Joe Song, if I pronounce the name right. It says a spokesperson. It says a spokesperson for the presidential committee. It says policy planning on July 14th. It says should be authorized to issue stablecoins. It says how should we align with other countries. It says at the core of the debate. It says at the core under debate. At the core of the debate, the questions who should issue digital money. CBCs are backed by central banks. While stablecoins are creating private forms of identified front currencies. The both serve function enabling digital payments. It says their broader implications are different considerably. It says essential major currency are just considered to be the most secure for digital money. It says the unregulated sovereign credit
Hey, Olive.
and directly controlled by the central banks. It says because the monetary authorities can issue a retired CBC at will. It says they retain a full commanding monetary policy that credits points to provide the currency at the CBC uses is often tied to the world name of accounts. It says making every transaction traceable by the state. Stablecoin, on the other hand, offer greater flexibility, are greater widely used to crypto markets worldwide. The ability to facilitate 24/7 payments and streamline costly cross-border transactions have been hailed as a financial innovation. So most likely they might choose, I don't know how the way it looks up, they might choose both of them. But it seems like the stablecoin has more, financial and security purposes. So they might choose that path. But either way it goes, we're seeing more and more of this Bitcoin, stablecoin, cryptocurrency, and pushing of this central digital currency. And it's going to fully show more and more of a more increasing indicator signs that the paper dollar is going to be a thing of the past. So we definitely see a tension between them. Signs between that and that say stock. And that's this is the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16. It says, it calls all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Revelation 13, verse 16. It says, it calls all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a karaka in their right hand or in their FOREHEDS. Right, so this technology that they want to implement into your body, that they want to make fully implemented. So the M.O.T.B is already here. They just wait for it to give a green light throughout the whole planet to make it mandatory enough for you to buy or sell to purchase items that you buy on a daily basis.